We want to solve this equation for x. But for just a moment, don't worry about the variable we are solving for. First, let's notice we have a rational expression on the left side, same thing on the right side. Let's multiply through by the LCD so that we no longer have fractions or rational expressions. The LCD is AB, so I'll multiply the left side by AB, and I'll multiply the right side by AB. And let's see what happens. Notice the a's divide out, and if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and multiply b times this binomial. That's bx plus b squared is equal to, here the b's divide out, and I'll go ahead and multiply a times the binomial, so that's 4ax minus 7a squared. Now let's worry about what terms contain the x. This term contains an x, this term contains an x. So every term that contains an x move to one side of the equation. Every term that does not contain an x move to the other side. I'll begin by adding 7ax squared to both sides of the equation. If I add it to the left side, I'll have bx plus b squared plus 7a squared. And if I add 7a squared on the right side, those two terms subtract out, and I have 4ax. Now I'll subtract bx from both sides. If I subtract bx from the left side, I'll have b squared plus 7a squared is equal to 4ax minus bx. Notice what I've done. I've written this so that terms without the variable I'm solving for are on one side, terms with the variable I'm solving for on the other side. These are unlike terms, so I cannot subtract them, but I can factor that common factor of x out. And when I do so, I have left 4a minus b. And I'll simply rewrite the left side. Now, how do I solve for x? I will divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which, believe it or not, is 4a minus b. So I've got to do the same thing on the left side, 4a minus b. They divide out, and look what x equals. It's b squared plus 7a squared over 4a minus b. Notice I've solved for x, the coefficient is an understood 1, and there's no x's on the other side.